of war, Women's Relief Corps fed the nation's higher sphere. One of my mentors, the late Elliot Cowden, an open housing advocate in the 1960s, who 20 years later founded the Southwest Seattle Historical Society, once lamented that as a boy he had to learn history by memorizing timelines keyed mostly to wars. We didn't get very much into what relation we as individuals have to this society, he said. He could have been reading the mind and heart of Richard Heisler. During the pandemic, the energetic equestrian artist and historian, 49, focused his research on the estimated 3,500 Civil War veterans and their families who migrated to King County near the turn of the 20th century. Heisler of Bothell has unearthed direct links between these vets and the rise of the town east of Lake Washington's northern tip. Nationally, starting in 1866, many of the war's surviving Union soldiers formed the Grand Army of the Republic, the GAR, fraternal organization. In 1883, their wives, along with daughters and other descendants and supporters, began gathering in posts of an auxiliary, the Women's Relief Corps, WRC. The Bothell WRC post began in 1902, and 22 of its members, plus 2 discreetly positioned men, populate our then photo from 1908. They pose outside the city's 1893 William Hannan home, which stands today at Bothell Landing along the Sammamish River, a half-mile west of its original site. Pristinely restored, it houses the Bothell Historical Museum. Bothell, the city, derives from a family by the same name. Heisler pointedly notes that the only graphic symbols on a Bothell Pioneer Cemetery monument for founder David Bothell, 1820 to 1905, and his wife Mary Ann, 1823 to 1907, parents of George, the city's first mayor, are of the GAR for David and WRC for Mary Ann. Other local luminaries had ties to the war's Union forces and their abolitionist Lincoln Republican ways of thinking, Heisler says. We think it was all so distant, he says, but many veterans and their families came west and walked the streets all over this county. WRC posts produced patriotic Memorial Day observances, installed flags and monuments, and even supported women's suffrage. At an 1885 Seattle gathering, the GAR's J.C. Haynes saluted their role. We welcome you because you have demonstrated that woman has a higher sphere than any that man can ever lay claim to, a sphere as broad as human sorrow, as lasting as humanity itself. Today, the WRC has reseeded locally, but it lives on in Heisler's talks, including one set for 6 p.m. August 3rd at the Bothell Library for the Bothell Museum. This is not an abstract thing, he says. These are people. In our first then photo, 22 members of the Bothell post of the Women's Relief Corps and 2 men sit and stand outside the 1893 William Hannan home in Bothell in 1908. Standing second from right is Jemima Mima Hannan, wife of William, standing in hat at left rear. For other names of those pictured, visit our blog at pauldorpat.com. In our second then photo, complete with a live Statue of Liberty, a 1908 Bothell Independence Day float salutes the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR. The FCL flag stands for Fraternity, Charity, Loyalty. Today, repeating the pose at the William Hannan home, Now situated at Bothell Landing and housing the Bothell Historical Museum, are 18 women, 4 girls, and a man, including several descendants of historical city figures. Again, for names of those pictured, visit our blog at pauldorpat.com. Also today, at Bothell Pioneer Cemetery, the two-sided monument for David and Marianne Bothell includes a Grand Army of the Republic GAR insignia for David and a Women's Relief Corps WRC insignia for Marianne. The FCL acronym on Marianne's side indicates the GAR and WLC slogan: Fraternity, Charity, Loyalty. Also today, we get a view of historian Richard Heisler at Bothell Pioneer Cemetery.